RC & Co lawyers offer our services in immigration law. In this subfield of law, you will learn about the many subclasses made available by the Minister and the Department of Home Affairs, including visitor visas, study and training visas, family and partner visas, working and skilled visas, and refugee and humanitarian visas, as well as other visa avenues particular to your circumstances, including resident return visas and bridging visas. We also offer our services and guidance in citizenship applications, merits appeals, and judicial review on immigration matters. If you have questions in relation to Australia immigration matters, please do not hesitate to contact us at RC & Co Lawyers.
Why did Australia rank as one of the top study abroad destinations for international students? They come to gain a high-quality education, possibly immigrate, or to experience a different life. Each year, many new international students will enroll in Australian courses and add to the already significant international student body around the country. We've been receiving various queries asking the process of a student visa, the rules in studying in Australia, what university is the best, all these kinds of questions, which is why the reason we decided to have this information session with you. Hi everyone, I am Susie. We welcome you again to another event where we are ready to answer your questions in relation to student visa application. To help us better understand the process, we have with us, of course, our very own attorney Rochelle Castro, immigration lawyer. We also have our special guest today to share with us his insights and information in relation to student requirements here in Australia. Attorney Rochelle Castro, amongst other areas of law, practices immigration law. Her experience includes 14 years working in boutique to mid-tier firms in Victoria, Western Australia, and New South Wales. Attorney Rochelle Castro holds a Juris Doctor degree and is a regular speaker of various industry events. She is also featured in various magazines and national newspapers that are available online, where she speaks about the areas that she specializes. Her previous career as a university lecturer strengthens her ability to communicate not only to her clients, but also to various industry stakeholders during training and speaking engagements. She is effective, resourceful, and clear as a legal advocate and advisor. Attorney Rochelle Castro understands that her clients must be given value when they seek her legal guidance, and such value includes educating them about their best legal options. Please welcome Attorney Rochelle Castro.
Good day all, and it's a pleasure for an opportunity being given to me to share with you the student visa essentials. Before anything else, I'd like to bring up my slides. Enjoy.
I wonder what are the new rules of Australia student visa?
I am planning to work more than 20 hours. What happens if a student like me works more than 20 hours in Australia?
I am also interested in studying there, but I need to know what are the qualifications and requirements to study in Australia.
We conducted surveys and these are the top 3 questions visa applicants asked. What are the new rules in Australia's student visa?
Quite a few. A lot has to do with the impact of COVID, like with many other things. In fact, all other things in our lives, the COVID has impacted the student visa rules. Particularly, I'll start with working rights. But the working rights particularly focuses on aged care staff. And what the Australian government has done is to provide more flexible hours than the usual 20 hours a week working hours or the 40 hours per fortnight hours. They've become more flexible and allowed more hours beyond those required hours to particularly aged care staff. And that would help the society of Australia to deal with, unfortunately, the adverse impacts of COVID. Another thing that has been changed in respect of the student visa rules is that the student visa process applications in particular, has now been processed and commenced reprocessing of the Australian government. So that means that they're starting to look into student visa applications, and now they're starting to actually start the process of granting those who are qualified for a student visa, especially now with some of the states' borders opening up for international students. Another thing is that to those student visa holders who are impacted by COVID and they need to relodge a further visa because they couldn't finish their academic requirements, there will be a no charge that's going to be granted for a further student visa. Another thing is that to those who have studied online, they were unfortunately could not enter Australia and had to continue the studies overseas. The study overseas months and or years that they are overseas and they could not finish it here, that would be counted as the Australian study in respect of points for further pathway towards either temporary or permanent visa. Another change in the Australian visa is that the graduates who could not return because of COVID, because the borders were shut, they could actually still apply for a 485 visa because the normal or the usual process is that immediately after the visa, as long as there's a reasonable gap of time from the student visa to the graduate visa, that has become more flexible so that it would be fair for those who have been significantly impacted to actually apply for a graduate, also known as the 485 visa. Next slide, please.
What happens if a student like me works more than 20 hours in Australia?
I mentioned before, there's a particular industry, the aged care industry, who have been given more opportunity to hire staff who are holding student visas. That's the one that are given more leniency when it comes to reporting beyond the 20 hours a week or 20 hours per fortnight. If a student visa holder is not an aged care staff, they would have to comply with the usual requirements, which is again what I say, 20 hours a week or 40 hours per fortnight, so as to make sure that they meet the conditions of the student visa conditions. Next slide, please.
What are the qualifications and requirements to study in Australia?
Be enrolled in a school, whether that's high school, college, or university. That's one of the requirements. If you are under 18 and you're applying for a student visa, you need to make welfare arrangements, meaning there will be a carer for you, whether that is a relative who will come with you or a person who will look after you or look after your affairs whilst you're in Australia and who is staying in Australia. Another thing is you must meet the English requirements, and this is first looked upon in respect of your enrollment in a particular school. Another thing is that you must make sure that you have adequate health insurance for the period of time of your stay in Australia whilst you're studying. You must also consider funding, making sure that you're able to demonstrate at least the first year if you are within that category of the country. If you are in a higher level, higher meaning they consider that it's categorized by certain countries, you may not have to demonstrate funding, or you may not have to present funding evidences. It would depend on your country of origin. Another thing is that you must be you must in your application confirm that you are a genuine entrant and that the purpose of the student visa that you're applying for is simply that to study. One more thing that you must comply with, and just like any other student, any other visas, is that you must meet the character requirements, meaning you will disclose all questions in relation to any criminal convictions, if any, or if you have been removed from another country. And finally, you must make sure that you do not owe any funds to the Australian government. And finally, you must make sure that there are arrangements when you arrive in Australia in respect of your living arrangements. Next slide, please.
Any takeaway tips for a successful student visa application, Rochelle?
Absolutely. And this is where our guest, Dr. June Morphe, will tell you more about it. But know what course you want to take. In our view, you must like that course. It must not just be an instrument on Enter Australia, and it is within your capacity, your skills and knowledge, or you are willing to gain the skills and knowledge in respect of that course. As I've mentioned earlier, you must make sure that there's sufficient funding that you have in reach to make sure you are able to fund your studies. You must make sure that you are already planning getting your English test, and make sure you've got a timeline for your plan. Meaning you have a projected time of arrival here in Australia. You move backwards so that you are able to determine how long you should take and when you should actually start working on your student visa application. And most importantly, which is really the first part, working with select your school, apply for the school, and if you're accepted, enroll in the school, then proceed with the student visa application. And finally, by arriving here, make plans about your activities, make plans of what steps you will take, what activities you will involve yourselves into once you enter Australia and you're holding the student visa and you're studying the course that you have applied for, or you are studying in the school that you have applied for. Remember those tips. And if you do require assistance, so that you make sure that your student visa application runs smoothly and there's a high likelihood that you will receive and be successfully granted a student visa, do not hesitate to contact our Zinco lawyers, because we are here to help. I will now like to take the opportunity to thank you for viewing us. And we have our second portion of this live stream, and I will pass it on to Dr. June Morphe. But more back to Susie, who's actually emceeing this event. See you next time.
Thank you so much, Attorney Rochelle, for all the information. Our next speaker. Dr. June Morphe lived in Australia for 20 years and has been connected to the Australian government. He is living in Melbourne along with his wife and 5 children. He is a volunteer at AKT Global. He is a former international student who got his scholarship when he was taking his master's degree at the University of New England, New South Wales. Dr. June has a PhD degree in management. Once again, Dr. June Morphe.
Thank you very much for that introduction. I'm June, volunteer for AKT, or ACT Global Education Consultants. So I'd like to present my slides, please. Next slide, please. So in the next 15 minutes, 15 or 20 minutes, um, I'll be introducing Act Global Education Consultants, the partners that we are currently engaged with in delivering the services to prospective students, the types of services, support, and assistance that we provide student recruits, student applicants to study abroad. Uh, and then I'll make uh, a short uh, example calculation of the costing of how much it would cost you to study in Sydney or in Melbourne. So affordability is one of the uh, subjects that is very close uh, to Filipino students wanting to study abroad, and also some scholarships that are available for applicants to consider, and then the next steps going forward. Next slide, please. So at Global Education Consultants is independent education consultancy. So what this means is we are not here to sell a course. We are not here to promote one, two, or three schools in Australia. Our reason for existence is really to provide uh, assistance and support to Pinoy who are dreaming to study abroad to achieve that dream. So we have representative offices in the Philippines and Australia, which is an advantage for us. Um, we envision as an organization to maximize the personal as well as the social and economic benefits of international education. So this could be in the form of professional advancement. It could be in terms of getting promotion after completing your course and therefore corresponding increase in your salary. Uh, and these benefits could flow onto your family, of course, to the local community, to local businesses, and society as a whole. So that's the sort of uh, ideals that we are envisioning to achieve. And these are encapsulated in our 5 word phrase: study abroad, change your world for the better. Next slide, please. What about our partners? This is just an incomplete list of the number of uh, education service providers in Australia and in Canada that we are in partnership with. So it reminds me of the Netflix. So it's sort of, uh, if your genre is drama or action or horror movies, sci-fi movies, there is some similarity in this. Whatever your field of study is or your profession, we can we can we can provide you with the counseling and advice and support in terms of uh, getting you to enroll in any of these institutions that would meet your requirement for your education. Next slide, please. But of course, it doesn't end in enrollment in a college or university. Uh, as much as possible, we are aiming to make your life, your stay, your study in Australia as fun, as enjoyable, and as safe as possible. So we have the so-called third-party partners. So in terms of your accommodation, we can provide some leads as to what are your options in your, it could be a homestay or it could be a shared room, it could be an apartment. Likewise, in terms of your health or medical insurance, which is a requirement by the Australian government, as mentioned by Attorney Rosell. We can also provide that sort of support. And once you complete your studies, the next step would be finding a job. So internship may be one pathway that you could tap on to increase your competitiveness in the labor market anywhere. It could be in Australia or Canada or US, whatever. Next slide, please. I cannot overemphasize the thing mentioned by Attorney Rosell. Getting the proper match between a course and your profession. So, for instance, if you're a bachelor's degree holder in finance or in marketing, and you want to shift to, let's say, nursing or healthcare, how is that possible? How can we make sense out of that? So these are the sort of unique situations or circumstances where the course matching workshop one-on-one can guide the students in finding the right or the most appropriate option. Next slide, please. And these are some of the specific support and services that we can provide our student recruits or applicants. The first dot point related to the previous slide, unlimited consultation during the entire duration of your application. So, or even after your application has been approved, preparing your documents, ensuring that these are complete, these are authentic, nothing is forged, so that when we submit this to the host school, you'll be properly assessed in terms of your eligibility. So we provide these personalized sort of services. Next slide, please. And as provided in previous slides, huge range of courses and schools to choose from, not only for Australia. We also have partner institutions in Canada, in the UK, in the US, and in New Zealand. And if you are a student recruit with us, promotional discounts and scholarship offers come in anytime. So you get access to these promotions. And the bottom two dot points are very important. Again, as mentioned by Attorney Rosell, how do we convince the Australian government, particularly the immigration officer, that your purpose for getting a student visa is really to complete your studies? After completing your study, are you going to stay temporarily or permanently? So we need documented evidence to support your claim that you are a genuine student and you are a genuine temporary entrant. Next slide, please. Proof of funds. Well, this may not be a documentary requirement, but we need to convince ourselves that you can fund your education abroad in a smart way. So that's basically the principle behind this. And this course of study report is one of our instruments where we can provide information to our student recruits, the details about the course, the campus where the course program is offered, the schedule of classes, the subjects to be taken per semester, or even the local economy where the campus is located, which has implications in terms of job prospects while you are still a student. So these are valuable information that you can take away, and we provide you this information. And once you get admitted to a college or university, we can review your offer letter where the details of the payment and other things related to your course are spelled out. So if you agree to all those information, then you can sign it. One-on-one student budget planning, this is optional. If you think you need this sort of service, then we are open to provide you. IELTS, access to practice test, we can give you this opportunity. Next slide, please. TOEFL and PTE, alternative to IELTS, we can also give you access to the review materials. And even for nurses, review materials for NCLEX. Free airport pickup in case you'll be studying in a Melbourne institution, then we can arrange a free airport pickup as long as you don't bring the whole barangay with you. Accommodation search, so we can also help you with this. Job application, whether it's preparing for an interview or preparing your application letter, we can help you improve those things. Next slide, please. Now, this is just a calculation to demonstrate what affordability could mean. So this is based on a real figure being offered by an institution in Sydney and in Melbourne. So diploma and advanced diploma, you could see 12,400 for 2 years. Okay, that's the tuition. But if you apply within this year, you can get a discount of 3,400 Australian dollars, by the way. So for 2 years, your discounted fee is only less than 10,000 Australian dollars. Now, for those who have done their research about an affordable course or study, then I'm sure you'll agree with me that this is one of the most affordable. Next slide, please. Cost of living. So these are the assumptions. You'll be renting your place for $250 a week. You have a $15 per day allowance for your grocery, transportation $30 per week. So total for 2 years, 41,000 Australian. That's for 2 years, which is close to the government estimate, 22K per year. So the total of your academic fee plus your cost of living is 50K. Okay, next slide, please. Again, mentioned by Attorney Roselle, the work rights of student visa holders is guaranteed. Now, in this case, $20 per hour minimum wage rate. You work for 20 hours per week. And during holiday break, you can work full time, so 38 hours per week. And this is the estimate of your earning or income out of your part-time and full-time job. So you deduct your academic and cost of living, the net expense is less than 5,000 Australian. So what benefit you get? You get 2 diplomas, the diploma and advanced diploma. So that's only one scenario when you can make the best value for your money. Okay, one way of funding your education in a smart way. Next slide, please. And if you have a general weighted average of above 90%, or if you have a Latin honor, Australia awards scholarships may be your way, where they offer full scholarship. So you don't have to worry about those cost of living and tuition. Everything would be paid by government. So if you think you're qualified, then this is the link. And this is just one case where your priority is, where does your priority lie? Is it in the cost or is it in the reputation of the institution? Obviously, Australian National University is one of the top Australian universities. That's why, in terms of cost, that's lowest priority. But if your priority is to study in a prestigious university or institution, then this becomes number one. So with those sort of parameters or decision-making variables, we can assist you in terms of arriving at the best or the most appropriate recommendation for you through our one-on-one counseling. Thank you very much.
So that's it, everyone. We hope you get something from our discussion today. And if you have more questions or clarifications in mind, you can reach us on the details shown on your screen. You can also message us through our social media platforms. We are on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok. Also, you can watch more of our featured videos on YouTube and listen to our podcast weekly episodes on ISS. We will be sharing the links in the comment section below. Everyone, thank you. This is Susie. See you all at our next live event.
RC & Co lawyers offer our services in immigration law. In this subfield of law, you will learn about the many subclasses made available by the Minister and the Department of Home Affairs, including visitor visas, study and training visas, family and partner visas, working and skilled visas, and refugee and humanitarian visas, as well as other visa avenues particular to your circumstances, including resident return visas and bridging visas. We also offer our services and guidance in citizenship applications, merits appeals, and judicial review on immigration matters. If you have questions in relation to Australia immigration matters, please do not hesitate to contact us at RC & Co Lawyers.